Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Good evening, aspirants. Welcome to the Hindu News Analysis discussion brought to you by ForumIAS for the date 23rd April 2023. These are the list of news articles for today's discussion. We will be covering 5 topics, each from science and technology, art and culture, governance, and a topic from environment. So with this, we will also be covering previous year prelims questions and a mains practice question. So straight away, let us move to our first article. First topic, optimistic space policy lays out plans to privatize sector. See, the global space economy is currently valued at about US dollars 380 billion. Despite being one among a few spacefaring nations in the world, India accounts for only about 2% of global market share in space economy. And in the last 2 decades, if you see, the private sector has played an important role in other spacefaring countries like US and in countries across Europe. You could have heard companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic. These companies have revolutionized the space sector by reducing cost and turnaround time. And they have also come up with innovations and advanced technology. But in India, private players in the space sector have been limited to just being a vendor or suppliers to the government's space program. Thus, there was a need to provide better scope for non-governmental entities for enhanced participation in Indian space program. And moreover, private players could play key roles to boost India's market share in the global space economy. So to make this happen, India has come up with a new space policy for the year 2023. And although this policy got approved in the first week of April by the cabinet, the policy was made public this Thursday. And this article is regarding that only. Let us see what the policy is all about. See, this policy is in short opens the door for enhanced participation of the non-governmental entities, that is especially the private sector's participation in space sector. So now the private sector will be carrying out end-to-end activities in the space domain, and the policy comes up with an aim to provide them a level playing field. And secondly, the policy wants to augment space capabilities and also enable, encourage and develop a flourishing commercial presence in the space sector, and then use space as a driver of technology development and derived benefits in allied areas. Then using this policy, the government envisions to pursue international relations like sharing of technology with developing countries or allowing the private players to have partnership with the private players of other countries. Through this way, the government plans to use space sector as a soft power to hold influence in the region. And then the policy creates an ecosystem for effective implementation of space applications among all stakeholders. This is what even our Prime Minister has been saying. He often asserts that the benefits of space technology should be made known to every Indian citizen, who will in turn become the stakeholder in the development of this sector. For that, effective implementation of space applications are needed, right? This is addressed in this policy. Then, like the Prime Minister often says, we should know space sector has the potential to develop a vibrant ecosystem of startups and private industries. The policy addresses that also. In this article also, we can see the mentioning about the role of private sector. We have to know that through this policy, the government has adopted a holistic approach by encouraging and promoting greater private sector participation in the entire value chain of the space economy. This also includes creation of space and ground-based assets by the private sector. And so now the role of the government will be limited. For example, if you take, the government now will focus more on providing public goods and services using space technology for national priorities, and then the government will create a regulatory framework for ensuring a level playing field among the private players in the space sector. Then the government will promote space related education, innovation, including support to space based sector startups. So we can see that the role of the government has changed from being a sole player in the space sector to becoming a facilitator by encouraging the private players. For this only, our government has established a center named InSpace, which is nothing but Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center. See, InSpace is an independent nodal agency under the Department of Space. This allows the private sector in performing space activities. This center aims to provide a level playing field for private companies to use the Indian space architecture. Know that InSpace will act as a channel between ISRO and any private players that want to participate in space activity. So through this way, the lengthy bureaucratic procedures will now be eliminated. So in other words, we can say InSpace will be acting as a single window clearance and as an authorization agency for space launches, establishing launch pads, buying and selling satellites, etc. And then this center will be beneficial in two ways. First is that it will allow more research and scholarly work by individuals who have the capability. For example, encouraging something similar to SpaceX in India. Secondly, the center will also allow ISRO to focus more on challenging missions and especially next generation technological development. Then the article also mentions about the NSIL, which has already executed a few commercial space launches. See, NSIL is nothing but New Space India Limited. NSIL was established in the year 2019 and it is a completely government owned undertaking or a central public sector enterprises. Know that it is under the administrative control of Department of Space. The objective of this NSIL is to commercially exploit the research and development work of ISRO. In short, we can say it allows the private sector to make use of the technologies that are developed by the ISRO. And if we take the mandate of NSIL, it owns satellite for Earth observation and communication application and provides space-based services. And then it will also build satellites, provide satellite launching services for satellites belonging to the customers. That is, the NSIL will provide launch services to the private players. Then it will also build launch vehicles through Indian industry and launch as per the satellite customer requirement. Then the NSIL will also engage in technology transfer to the Indian industries. These are few functions of NSIL. Though this NSIL was established in the year 2019, well before the space policy, we have to note that the functions of NSIL is in line with the policy that aims to promote private participation. Then the policy mentions that Department of Space will provide overall guidelines, that is overall policy guidelines, and the Department of Space will be the nodal department for implementing space technologies, and added that the Department of Space will coordinate international cooperation in the area of global space governance and programs in consultation with the Ministry of External Affairs. And finally, one of the main aspect of this policy is regarding the open data access from ISRO's remote sensing satellite. This is a huge opportunity because remote sensing satellites will provide enormous data ranging from assessment of crop productivity, locating groundwater resources, then for mineral exploration, etc. Which means now these satellite images would be freely available. Using this satellite data, the private players can build consumer-based applications which will boost the application aspects of space technology. So these are few areas of the policy which are covered in the article. This is enough for the exam point of view. So in this article, we have seen about the global space economy and about the new space policy 2023, and also regarding two institutions. One is the InSpace, which is a center, then about PSU, which is the New Space India Limited. So with this, let us close this topic and move to the second topic of the day. Second article, the Night of Butacola. This article is about a ritualistic performance called Butacola. Here, the author also compares Butacola with another art performed in Kerala known as Theyyam. So in this context, let us know about both of these cultural practices from exam point of view. We all know, right, the movie Kantara has portrayed Butacola, which was until then a less known ritualistic art. And now this ritualistic performance is so popular as the movie Kantara brought it into a mainstream. See, Butacola is one of the part of Tulu culture, which means they are practiced by Tuluwas, who are the speakers of Tulu language. The Tuluva community are said to reside in the heartland of Karnataka, primarily in the Dakshina Kannada and Udupi district of Karnataka, and they are also resided in few parts of Kerala. Like most communities in India, the Tuluvas also worship God in many forms, such as forest deities, mountain gods, local spirits, and as animal deities. Butacola is a ritual which involves the invocation of these spirits. Buta refers to spirit and Kola means a play or performance in Tulu. During the annual celebration of Butacola, one person performs the ritual of invoking local spirits. The performer is believed to be possessed by a spirit, and that person acts as a medium of communication between the god and the worshipper. Here the performer is so aggressive with a fierce dance and rituals, and here you have to know that the ritual is performed in the open air, and the Butacola comes in the form of Panchuruli or Kallurutti and so on. As said earlier, the performer is possessed by a god spirit, so people come and worship, and then the worshipper even asks any query if they have, and the performer in the possessed state provides the answers to the community. So this is how the ritual happens. Now if we come to the Theyyam, which is a popular ritual form of dance worship in the state of Kerala and Karnataka, Theyyam consists of 1000-year-old traditions, rituals and customs. Here the people consider Theyyam itself as a channel to God, and thus they seek blessings from Theyyam. Know that there are about 456 types of Theyyam. Generally, Theyyam is performed by males except the Devakuttu Theyyam. This Devakuttu Theyyam is the only Theyyam ritual which is performed by female, and it is performed only in the Tekkumbad Kulam temple in Kerala. The dance or invocation is generally performed in the front of village shrine. It is also performed in the houses as an ancestor worship with elaborate rites and rituals. Now let us see some popular Theyyams. First is the Vishnu Murti Theyyam. It is the most popular Vaishnava Theyyam. This Theyyam narrates and performs the story of Hiranyakashipu's death by Lord Vishnu in the avatar of Narasimhan. Next is the Sri Muttappan Theyyam. It consists of two divine figures and is considered as a personification of two divine figures. That is the Valiya Muttappan, which signifies Vishnu, and the Cheriya Muttappan, which signifies Lord Shiva. Then the third Theyyam is the Gulikan Theyyam. This represents Yama, the Hindu god of death called Yama. The Benkanakavu in Nileshwar is the most famous temple dedicated to Gulikan. That is all about Butacola and Theyyam. So with this, let us close this topic here. Third topic, Hakki Pikki caught in Sudans Civil War. See, the news regarding the Sudan Civil War appeared in yesterday's newspaper also. So in yesterday's discussion, Indu ma'am covered it from geographical aspects of Sudan region. So anything related to Sudan border, rivers, capital and all those, you can watch it in yesterday's video. And today we will be covering about the Hakki Pikki tribal community from exam point of view. The news is that members of Hakki Pikki tribal community from the state of Karnataka are stuck in violence hit Sudan, even as the government is taking certain steps to bring them back. And it adds to say that the tribe is scattered across the capital city Khartoum and in the Darfur regions of West Sudan. In this context, let us know more about the tribal community from prelims point of view. See, Hakki Pikki is one of the major tribal communities in the state of Karnataka. In Kannada, the word Hakki stands for bird and Pikki stands for the verb to catch. So therefore, the community is known as the bird catcher, which is their traditional occupation. The community migrated from northern India, mainly from the states of Gujarat and Rajasthan, to the state of Karnataka. And according to the 2011 census, the Hakki Pikki population in Karnataka is around 11,892. Despite being surrounded by Dravidian languages and living in southern India, the community speaks an Indo-Aryan language. Remember, this might be the area where UPSC can focus. Once again, I am saying Hakki Pikki community speaks Indo-Aryan language. Their mother tongue was designated as Wagri by certain scholars, and know that UNESCO has listed Wagri as one of the endangered languages. If you take the rituals and customs, Hakki Pikkis in Karnataka follow Hindu traditions and they celebrate all Hindu festivals. They are non-vegetarians, and the eldest son in their family is not supposed to cut their hair so that they can be identified easily. Another thing is that the tribe prefers cross cousin marriages, and the society is matriarchal where the groom gives dowry to the bride's family. If you take their occupation, Hakki Pikkis are renowned for their indigenous medicine. Okay, the community resided in dense jungle for a long time, no, so they created their own plant and herb based medicine system. Know that they have their own herbal oil business, and now the tribe members go to many places across the globe to sell their products. But however, you must know that Hakki Pikkis are one of the most vulnerable tribes of India. They are much dependent on forests for their survival. This made them isolated from modern education and modern lifestyle. So they are at present at the bottom of the social pyramid in Indian society. But know that they do not feature on the list of India's particularly vulnerable tribal groups. This is also an important point to note. That is all about the Hakki Pikki tribes. So with this, let us close this topic. Fourth topic, reviving a dead river, a cultural event to celebrate legacy of Yamuna. See, in India, rivers are considered to be part and parcel of life. From the ancient period till now, our cultural ties are often associated with rivers and other forms of nature. In ancient India also, you can see the empire building, fort construction, wars were all based on the location of prominent rivers. This is because rivers benefits us through crop productivity, cultural significance, and the rivers are associated with festivals and religious rituals. So saving rivers from ecological degradation has been one of the areas where the government of India has been focusing. Taking that into account, the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts will host a cultural program under its special project named Riverine Cultures of India project. So before knowing about the project, let us now know few facts about IGNCA. See, the Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts was established in the year 1987 and it is an autonomous institution under the Ministry of Culture. Know that this IGNCA acts as a center for research, academic pursuit and dissemination in the field of arts. Earlier also, IGNCA was in news as it was associated with a project called Project Mosam. Project Mosam is a Ministry of Culture project which is to be implemented by the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts. So for this project, IGNCA will act as a nodal coordinating agency with the support of Archaeological Survey of India. This Mosam project focuses on monsoon patterns, cultural routes and maritime landscapes that link different parts of Indian Ocean littorals. So now coming back to the article, Riverine Cultures of India is a kind of event that includes film exhibition of water bodies, and photo exhibition is also planned to happen where photos will be comparing the Yamuna of today with what the river was like 50 years ago. Through these comparisons, the government plans to create the awareness among people. Then there will also be a symposium on various aspects such as ecology and conservation of India's rivers and their importance in country's heritage, where the discussions will take place. Here you must know that Riverine Culture of India project focuses on 6 rivers. They are Ganga, Yamuna and Sindhu in the north part of India, Krishna, Godavari and Kaveri in the southern part of India. So by giving focus to these rivers, there will be all-round festival celebrations, workshops, awareness generations and discussions about the rivers in different parts of the country. Here the article in the end mentions that Yamuna river has been declared almost dead by the Central Pollution Control Board in the year 2015. Such a declaration was done after citing the uncontrolled flow of untreated waste into the Yamuna river. So now let us know about the issues surrounding the river pollution and also about CPCB from exam point of view. If we take the reasons for ecological degradation of river ecosystem, domestic wastes and sewage is one of the main reasons for river pollution originating from households. This is added with the careless behavior and irresponsible attitude towards rivers causing river pollution. Then second is the rampant use of fertilizers and pesticides that are used in fields percolate to the river ecosystem, and inability to educate farmers about consequences of indiscriminate use has led to poor state of rivers. Then if we take the flaws in governance, according to the recent findings of CPCB, number of critically polluted segments of Indian rivers have risen to about 351, which is a reflection of the governance failure. You must know that the failure of many national programs run by Center for River Conservation, Water Quality Monitoring can be attributed to corruption and ineffective law implementation. Then additionally, the problems are worsened by the poor infrastructure in the cities and towns located near rivers. Then the low priority accorded to enforcement of laws by the state pollution control boards and pollution committees have also led to inefficiencies. These are issues that must be addressed here. Now let us see about the CPCB. See, the Central Pollution Control Board is a statutory organization under the Water Act of 1974. It is an apex organization in the country that acts as a technical wing of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in the field of pollution control. And know that the CPCB is also entrusted with the powers and functions under the Air Act of 1981. It provides technical services to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change under the provisions of Environment Act of 1986. If you take the functions of CPCB, it includes like promoting cleanliness of streams and wells in different states by prevention, control and abatement of water pollution. Then it also takes steps to improve the quality of air and to prevent air pollution in the country. These are few functions of CPCB which you must know. In addition to this article, let us also know about the Pushkaralu festival that is associated with river ecosystem. See, Pushkaram is an Indian festival dedicated to the worshipping of rivers. The festival is also known as Pushkaralu in Telugu, Pushkara in Kannada or just Pushkara. It is celebrated at shrines along the banks of 12 major sacred rivers. It includes Ganga, Yamuna, Narmada, Chambal, Kaveri, Bias, Tapti, Godavari, Chenab, Krishna, Saraswati and Brahmaputra. This festival is celebrated in the form of ancestor worship with devotional music and cultural programs. Know that the festival happens annually once in 12 years along the rivers I have mentioned now. This year, the 12-day Pushkaralu festival is celebrated by Telugus by worshipping the river Ganga. That is all about this article. So in this discussion, we saw about Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts and about the Riverine Culture of India project, then also about CPCB and Pushkaralu. With this, let us close this topic and move to the next topic. Coming to the fifth and the final topic, stray dog population control is dog-eared by bad signs. See, the government has come up with an animal birth control rules 2023 which requires strays to be caught, vaccinated, neutered and released back into the community. Here the word neutered means removing the sex organ of the stray dogs in order to control their population. The Union government has notified the Animal Birth Control Rules 2023 under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 1960. So this new rule will supersede the Animal Birth Control Rules of 2001. The aim of the new rule is to reduce the stray dog population by addressing animal welfare issues. For this to happen, the program for sterilization and immunization of stray dogs are carried out, and it shall be carried out by the respective local bodies with the help of Animal Welfare Board of India. So from this information we can infer that local bodies need to implement the animal birth control rules along with the anti-rabies program. Also know that the rules classifies stray dogs into a new class of community animals, and there is also a responsibility to resident welfare associations where they will take care of stray dogs and feed them at fixed intervals, and this resident welfare association will also ensure that stray dogs are away from children and the elderly. These are the few information about the new policy, but the article here highlights the flaws associated with the ABC rules of 2001 itself. It points out the reason for the failure of the previous policy. Firstly, the dog population in India is now around 65 million. This increase in population has happened even after spending crores of money and with policy in hand. The failure of this policy is because it did not have any mechanism to implement it. And even now, under this new policy, the government of India did not fix any targets to achieve it, which means the ABC rules does not seem to have any benchmark or targets. So how would we track or monitor the performance of this program? This becomes difficult, right? And since there is no targets now, municipalities or other local bodies will set their own targets for sterilization based on their budget and facilities available. And moreover, modeling studies show that nearly 90% of dog population needs to be sterilized over a short period of time. Only then a sustained population reduction over a 10 to 15 year period can be achieved. So without any targets being fixed by the union government, we cannot expect the third tier alone to plan, finance and manage the animal birth control rules. Then secondly, the article highlights the uncontrolled feeding of stray dogs by the residents. Here the author says that such activities will only lead to increased population and territoriality among the stray dogs, which means dogs will form a group and they roam in packs and occupy a particular region. So this behavior of dogs will make them aggressive and will not allow any non-residents to enter the zone. This is where many children and elderly people are getting affected by the aggressiveness of these stray dogs. And in the policy, the government is emphasizing on feeding these dogs, which is criticized in the article. So keeping that in mind, the article suggests for a ban of irresponsible feeding in public places, and the author encourages the adoption and long-term sheltering of homeless dogs. And before concluding, the article criticizes the ABC rules for banning the euthanasia of rabid animals. As it says, India is the only country in the world to follow such a cruel practice. But the other provision which is a positive aspect from the policy is that policy suggests the establishment of animal help center. Through this animal help center, one can complain about dog or cat bites where it can be registered. So that is all about the article. This article is about animal birth control rules and certain negative aspects of it, which is mentioned by the author in this article. So with this, let us close the news discussion and move to the previous year practice questions. Now coming to the previous year prelims questions, these two questions that we are going to discuss now has appeared in the year 2019. So consider the first question. The service area approach was implemented under the purview of, the options given are option A, Integrated Rural Development Program, option B, Lead Bank Scheme, option C, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, option D, National Skill Development Mission. See, the answer for this question is option B, Lead Bank Scheme. The service area approach is an improved method of lead bank scheme where the service area approach aims to deploy bank credit for rural development. Under the service area approach, each bank branch in rural and semi-urban areas were designated to serve around 15 to 25 villages, and that designated bank branch is responsible for meeting the needs of bank credit of its service area. So the primary objective of this service area approach was to increase productive lending and cause effective linkages between bank credit, productivity and increase in income level of the people. So in short, we can say service area approach under lead bank scheme was meant to achieve financial inclusion. So the answer for this question is option B, lead bank scheme. Now coming to the second question, consider the following statements. Statement 1. As per the law, the compensatory afforestation fund management and planning authority exist at both national and state levels. Statement 2. People's participation is mandatory in the compensatory afforestation programs carried out under the Compensatory Afforestation Fund Act of 2016. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? The options given are option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, option D neither 1 nor 2. See, the first statement is a correct statement. As per the law, the CAMPA fund, which is the Compensatory Afforestation Fund Management and Planning Authority, exists at both national and state levels. So this is the correct statement. But the second statement says people's participation is mandatory in the compensatory afforestation program. No, this is wrong because it is only voluntary. So it does not provide for mandatory people participation in compensatory afforestation program. So the answer for this question is option A, one only. Now coming to the mains practice question, consider this question. Unclean rivers in India reflect the failure of society and governance at the local and national levels. Comment. So aspirants can take note of this question. You can write the answers and you can post it in the comment section given below. So with this we have come to the end of both the news articles and previous year questions discussion. With this, let us wind up the discussion here. If you like the method of teaching and if you are able to understand the concepts well, please give a like, share, comment and subscribe to ForumIAS Academy in various social media platforms for further updates. Thank you.